What's up guys, my name's Ollie and today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 things I wish I knew when I first started calisthenics. So I often get a lot of messages on Instagram asking me what's the best way to get into calisthenics. I want to start getting into calisthenics but I don't know how. Can you give me a workout for beginners? What tips would you give for a beginner getting into calisthenics? So today I'm going to speak to you about the 5 things I wish I knew before I started calisthenics so that you guys can start your calisthenics journey with all the info that I now know, having trained calisthenics for about 3 years. So my first tip for you today is to start with the basics. A lot of people, when they see calisthenics, they see all the hard and tricky stuff that a lot of calisthenics athletes can do. So handstand push-ups, front levers, backflips, all the different skills that calisthenics athletes that have been training for years are now able to do. And they want to be able to do them straight away. But the thing is, you need to be able to master the basics before you can start doing the advanced skills. The basics consist of pull-ups, push-ups, dips, L-sit hold, burpees, and so on and so forth. Even me being an advanced calisthenics athlete, having trained calisthenics for over 3 years, I still use the basics in most of my workouts. So when you get started, it's very important to master the basics. If you're not sure how to do some of these or you want some progressions to be able to build up the strength to get to that, I do have a workout video that I posted last week that you can check out on my page. I'll leave a link up here so that you can see it. So make sure you have the basics down before moving on to anything more advanced. My next tip for you is that calisthenics is not something that's so different from weightlifting. It uses the same principles that weightlifting uses. So if you come from a weightlifting background and you want to move into calisthenics, you already have a lot of knowledge about calisthenics that you don't really realize that you have. So for example, a lot of people ask me, they say to me, if I do calisthenics, isn't that going to make me really skinny and I'm not going to be able to put on muscle or put on size? And I say to them that calisthenics is essentially the same thing as weightlifting. The only difference is that you're using your own body weight. You're still doing the same movements, you're still working the muscles in a very similar way. You're still going to be able to put on size and put on muscle and put on strength with calisthenics. Some may argue even more than just normal weightlifting. So for example, with weightlifting, if you wanted to put on size, you might work in the rep ranges of 8 to 12 reps. So in calisthenics, if you want to put on muscle rather than strength, maybe you'll work in the rep range of 8 to 12 reps in your exercises. Whereas if you want to build strength, maybe you'll work from 3 to 5 reps in your exercises. The same thing you do for weightlifting. When you lift weights, you try and use good form and you come slow on the way down or the eccentric part and you be explosive on the way up. It's the same thing with calisthenics. So you guys can borrow a lot of principles that you used in weightlifting to bring over to calisthenics. It's no different. My third tip for you today is to do your research. There is so much free information out there. You don't have to buy programs of your favorite Instagram influencer or your favorite YouTuber. You can find all this information for free just on YouTube. There's so many good channels, and what I'll do is I'll leave a list of channels that I know are great for calisthenics that you guys can check out down in the description below, so you can check that out. But if you look through my page as well, I have some great videos on different workouts, different tutorials, different tips that you can use in your calisthenics journey. So doing your research means that you'll be able to do the exercises properly with good form, and therefore you'll make much faster progress. So make sure to do your own research before you begin and whilst you're starting calisthenics. So whilst you're mastering the basics and whilst you're on your way to mastering the basics, you should start thinking about what kinds of skills that you can start to learn in calisthenics. In calisthenics, a lot of calisthenics is learning specific skills and movements that might look kind of cool, but are also helpful for exercising your muscles in a lot of different ways. A calisthenics athlete might try and accumulate as many skills as they can over their calisthenics journey. For example, handstand push-ups, 90-degree push-ups, front lever, back lever, muscle ups, planche, and so much more. So if I were you, I would start to think about what kinds of skills you want to accumulate and what kinds of goals you want to get to. So don't set your goals too far in advance. So for example, if you're just a beginner in calisthenics, I would not advise going for a goal of a full planche. So my fourth tip for you today is to set realistic goals. So don't start thinking that within 2 months you're going to be super ripped, super lean, you're going to be able to do handstand push-ups, full planche. Don't set unrealistic goals. You need to set goals that are realistic for you. Maybe if you're superhuman, you might be able to achieve that in a few months, but realistically, the average person is not going to be able to achieve that in a few months. So don't set a goal as a beginner of maybe achieving a full planche or maybe a handstand push-up within the next few months. What I would do is I would definitely set some goals and some skills that you want to learn. So for example, when I first started my calisthenics journey, I decided I wanted to do a muscle up and I wanted to learn how to do a handstand. And I mastered those goals. I got the muscle up within a few months and I got the handstand within a year. And once I'd learned the handstand, I knew I wanted to go on to do the handstand push-up. Once I got the muscle up, I wanted to go on to do the front lever. And so currently, I'm developing my planche, I'm building my strength in my handstand push-up, and I'm still building my strength in my front lever as well. So set goals that are realistic for you, that you think you will be able to achieve. Maybe set some short-term and mid-term and long-term goals that you want to achieve. They could be goals on skills, they could be goals on what you want to look like, or what weight you want to get to, or if you want to get fitter. They can be goals on anything, but set realistic goals. I'm going to put up on the screen over here a list of some skills that you might want to work on as a beginner that are really great calisthenics skills for a beginner to learn and will become essential in your calisthenics journey to get onto more advanced movements. So my fifth and final tip for you guys is to not give up and to keep at it and keep failing. You only learn through failure. You're not going to start off by being able to do the crazy skills at the beginning, and it's not going to come to you easy. If it came easy, everyone would be doing it. So you're going to fail. Trust me, I've failed probably millions of times on my way to a handstand push-up. I've had to do hundreds of thousands of repetitions to get the handstand push-up, and I still have to do loads and loads of repetitions to try and develop my strength in it as well. So you're going to fail, and there's going to be days where you feel like you can't do it, you're never going to be able to do it, but trust me, stick in there. It's all a process. Hold the vision in your head and trust the process to get there. Another great thing to do in relation to this is film your attempts and film your failures, because once you film your failures, you can see your form, you can see where you're going wrong, and it's nice to look back on. If say you can't do something now and you film it and you try it for a few months and you finally are able to get it, it's nice to be able to look back and see where you've come from and see the progress you have made. We often get caught up in the fact that we're not making any progress, but we neglect to see the progress that we've made in the past. So it's nice for me, I've been recording for the past 2 years and I have a lot of attempts where I failed, where now I'm able to do the skill, and it's nice to look back on and be able to say, this is where I was and this is where I am today. To summarize, my 5 tips for you guys to take away from today is to stick to the basics, use the same principles that you use in weightlifting, do your research, be realistic with the goals that you set, and to not give up and learn from your failures. So those are my 5 tips for you guys. Next week, I'm going to be talking about my calisthenics journey and how I got to where I am today, and make a video on my progression of 2 to 3 years in calisthenics. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you guys can check that out next week. Thanks for watching.